Yesterday we are telling how do you generate a SaaS for a blob and how do you access it. Now I'm telling if you have multiple blobs inside a container, how do you access the entire container? The next what I'll be going is that if you have multiple containers, how do you access all those containers out there? Can you generate a SaaS at a storage account level as well? Now I generated a SaaS at a blob, at a container, and the next level that I'll be going into is that can you generate a SaaS at a storage account level as well? If you generate that, what is going to happen? Yes, before I go there, any questions?
Yeah, I can.
I can.
Yeah, actually, if you have access through this storage explorer, then
Hmm?
is there any security level actually that office content and all we can download in our local machines in our home, right? Through
Correct.
SaaS URL.
Correct. Again, security, when you talk about security out here, there is something a firewall concept which comes at a later point in time. But yes, it is a
Okay.
secured way. We go ahead, give this particular SaaS URL, and we only give this SaaS URL to developers, to let's say people whom we know inside the organization. We don't give it to let's say people outside the organization. But yes, it's a good point. What about the security? We'll answer that when we look at something called as networks, as in how do you go ahead secure your data and all these things out.
Okay, if I am the admin, so I'm not a developer, I am the admin, so I know the SaaS
Mhm.
URL, right? So then I can
Right.
use in my local in my home if it is, or
Yes,
it's
you
like a
can do that.
network level security. Okay.
Again, you can do if you are admin, you can use that let's say SaaS URL from your home. Yes, you can do that. Yes, it is unsecured way to do it, but you can do that. Azure, let's say, allows you the option to go ahead and do that, for which we implement something called as a network level security, which we will come down to once we look at networks and all these things out here.
Okay. Thank you.
This one, it's free. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. It's free. Just have to download it, install it out, and you can start using it out. In Google, it's showing it's a paid one. Where is it showing it's a paid one? I'm sorry. Is it showing you anywhere to pay? No, it's not a paid. If it's paid, then I would have also paid the same thing, right? It's not a paid version. It's a free version. It's a free application. You can just download this out here. Yes. Any more questions still here? Anyone? Any more
Hi
questions still
Kiran.
here? So go ahead, please.
Hi Kiran. Previously we have created a SaaS token with read
Mhm.
access. Is that exist
Okay.
or is it expired?
No, it still exists. So if you look at this one, I have both. I have connected to that particular container using a SaaS with only read access. So it did not expire, but I cannot, let's say, go ahead and delete anything out here. So if I try to, let's say, delete it out, it will fail. It's still there. It won't, let's say, get expired, but it won't let me, let's say, delete. It won't let me, let's say, go ahead add something. But this one with all permissions, this will let me go ahead delete it out. This will let me go ahead read it out and all that stuff.
Hi Kiran, is it possible to restore after 7 days once we delete
No,
any blob or
not possible. No, not possible after, I mean, not possible to restore our data after 7 days. Reason
okay?
being, we make sure to put, let's say, the soft delete as 365 or something like that. So that even if I accidentally delete it, I can go ahead and let's say restore it for a year or so on and so forth. So the bigger your soft delete option is, the better it is. Reason being here, if I go back again, I created my storage account. If I go into my storage account, there is something called as a data security. Let's see that. Let's see something called soft delete, data protection. Sorry, and inside which I have the option to enable a soft delete for a blob, to enable a soft delete for a container as well. Meaning, even if your entire container is deleted, you can still go ahead and restore that container for a period of 7 days. But having that said, you can change the date. Yes, you can change the time period even after you create the storage account. Enter a number what? below 365. So 1 to 365 is accepted. One minimum range, meaning 1 day to 365 days. So you can do this, and if you save this, sorry, it will not affect pricing if you store it, but it will affect when you, let's say, restore it. There will be a small price when you restore it. It won't affect the pricing as such. So 365, you can also, let's say, change this to 365 as such here. Guys, please go on mute. It will not affect your pricing. You can change this out. You can say save this out. Still works. So all you need to go into something called as data protection, and you can change these options out here. You can change the soft delete options out here. Again, if you do not know what is the option, just say soft delete. Just say soft. I just typed in soft, and I have something called data protection under data management. You can go inside it, and you can disable the soft delete. You can enable soft delete and all these things out here. You can change the time period and
Thanks.
everything.
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
Thank.
Can you come again, please? Can you come again, please? I didn't get a question. All right. So this is where we are. Yesterday we were telling how to upload a blob. After uploading a blob, how to access it securely using something called as a shared access signature. I was just talking about one blob. Now I'm talking about multiple blobs inside a container. How do you go ahead and, let's say, access multiple blobs inside a container? This is something that I'm talking about. But what if you have multiple containers? Let's say I create another container called test container 2. Like this, I have, let's say, about thousands of containers out here. Now the point is that I have a developer in my organization, and this is a storage account that I created for a developer, let's say, I mean, for a development team out here. And now that developer wants to access all the containers inside my storage account, all the containers inside my storage account out here. This is something that the developer wants to do. So there is an option called shared access signature. Guys, can you please go on mute if you're not talking again and again? There are a lot of people who are unmuted. So guys, I cannot be doing this again and again. I'm again telling you, please go on mute if you're not already unmuted out here. I'm getting a lot of echo at my end. Guys, this is not a proper etiquette. Please stay on mute if you're not speaking. It is disturbing the entire class. It's disturbing others. It's breaking the class out here. Let's do one thing. Great. All right. So this is what I'm coming down to, and I'm telling right now is that if I want to access individual containers, I'm going ahead and generating the SAS tokens for individual containers, and I'm getting access to all the blobs inside a container. But what if that you have a developer who needs access to all these containers that are listed inside your storage account? If you want to do that, there is also an option called shared access signature at a storage account level as well. At a storage account level as well, there is something called shared access signature. Now, I'm talking about shared access signature at three different levels. One at a blob level. This is something that we have seen yesterday. And if you generate a shared access signature at a blob level, you will have access to only that blob. Two at a container level. And if I give you the shared access signature at a container level, you can access all the blobs inside a container level. Three, now I'm talking about shared access signature at a storage account level, which will give you access to all the containers and all the blobs inside each and every container. Let's look at that. Now, the shared access signature generation is a little different when it comes to, let's say, a container. If you, sorry, at a storage account. If you go inside the storage account and if you go inside something called as a shared access signature out here, it's now telling what are the allowed services. Now, As let's say a data management, as let's say a data storage, I have something called containers, file shares, queues, and tables. This is what it is telling. Blob as in a container, file, queue, table. I don't need all these things out here. And here I'll just tick on all these things saying service, container, and object. I'm good with all these things out here. Again, I can say what are the permissions that I need. Is it read? Is it write? I don't want to write. I don't want someone to delete. I don't want someone to add. I don't want someone to create. We'll talk about what is an immutable storage out here. I'm now telling read and list only. Now, if you only give read, it won't work. You have to give read and list out here. And then scroll down. You can give the expiration. You can give the start date. You can give the end date out here. HTTPS only. And I'll say generate SAS and connection strings. There is one more thing that you get here called as a connection string. What do you mean by that? Let's look at that. So you have a token, you have a URL, you now also have something called as a connection string out here. Let's copy this out, or anything. You can copy anything out here. I'll copy this out, go back into my, let's say, storage explorer. I'll click on this option once again. And this time around, I won't say blob container because I'm not connecting to one container. I'm connecting to the entire storage account service as such. I'll say storage account and the service. Now I have URL, connection string, account name, and the key as well. So I copy the connection string. So I have the connection string, I have the key, I have the URL. I can copy anything of these. I'll copy the connection string to start with. I'll say connection strings, I'll say next. I'll place my connection string out here. Now it's saying required list. Let's see that. Let's see why isn't it giving me. Let's see what all I gave here. I said this is all these things. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's put all these things out here. I just need read and list. And let's say generate this out. Yes. We'll copy this out. So make sure to put all these things out. For some reason, it sometimes doesn't work. So make sure to put all these things out. Let's say copy this out. No error right now. Again, the permission that I'm giving here is just a read and a list. If you look at the permissions, I'm just saying read and list. But make sure to put all these services out here. Sometimes it acts a little weird out here. So let's go here. And now I'll say this is something like this hyphen 24062022. I'll say next and I'll say connect. Now do you see I'm not listed in the container? Now do you see in the left hand side corner? I am now, let's say, getting the entire storage account. I'm not getting a container, I'm getting the entire storage account. And inside this storage account, if I go click here, there are something called as what? Containers out here. And to all these containers, I have a limited permission, meaning container 2 doesn't have any blobs. That doesn't mean I can upload blobs out here. So if you want to upload, you can also upload the blobs using the storage explorer. You can say upload, you can say files, and you can select a particular file out here. And let's go into something like that, images and etc. Let's upload those ones. When I start doing that, it will fail. Reason being, I don't have the right access. The only access I have is a read and a list. I cannot go ahead and upload it out. And to answer your question that you started with, if you have a GB of a file, use a storage explorer to upload it. From the portal directly, it won't take it. Use a storage explorer to upload heavy files out there. So try this out. Let me know if that doesn't work. So I cannot go into a container and just start deleting something. I cannot do that because I don't have the right access. I cannot come here and I can say, let's say, go ahead and delete this out. I cannot do that. Reason being, I don't have that particular permission. Also, if someone has a permission, they can come here, delete the entire, let's say the container as well. So I can do a delete out here for the entire container, but it will not allow me. It should not allow me. The reason being, the permission, or I do not have, let's say, the right permissions out here. Now, this is a shared access signature. Shared access signature can be generated a blob, a container, and a storage account as well. There is something called as an access key. Apart from shared access signatures, the other way to access a storage account is by using an access key. Are they both the same? You will answer this question in a second. Just observe shared access signature. This is what shared access signature gives you. read, write, and etc. Control whatever it is. Let's go to the access keys and let's say show keys. What is the difference do you observe between a shared access signature and access key just by looking at this particular page? Sorry, or permissions, or to put it in a different way, I cannot tell what are the permissions I'll give it to a user if I share the access key. Access key will give you an unlimited access. Shared access signature, on the other hand, will help you control what you can do. Do you want to read? Do you want to write? Do you want to upload? Do you want to create, delete, and etc.? Access key is like an admin permission to your storage account. They can create, delete, do everything with your storage account out here. I'll say show access keys. I'll just copy one of the access keys out here. Again, I can copy a key. This time around, I'll copy the key out here. So I'll copy the key. I'll go to the, let's say the storage account out here. And I'll again say connect. And here I'll select the storage account. And now I'll say account name and key because I've copied the key right now. So I'll say account name and key. I'll say next. And now it's asking me all the details. So the difference between a connection string and the key out here is simple. Connection string has all the name and everything embedded. If you come through a key, you will have to give your name, you'll have to give the account name and all these things. So if I come to the key, copy this out, I can say account key, I can place it here. I have to say the account name. So let's go back. This is the name of the account. This is the display name. Let's go and give a display name out here telling that it is 2406 2022. And I'll say key just to make sure that it is key. I'm connecting to the Azure portal, not Azure government, not Azure China and everything. I'll say next. I'll say connect. So you can use either a connection string, either a key, everything, anything will give you the same level out here. But what happens if I connect with a key versus a shared access signature is this. Key gives you an unlimited access. So if I go inside a container, if I click on a container, I can delete even the container. I can delete the entire container as well. Successfully delete the container. I cannot see the container here. And if I refresh all these things out, this is the same storage account with a key. This is the same storage account with a shared access signature. If I look at this one, I can only see test container 2 as well. Here I cannot see the container 1 because I deleted it out. And here also I cannot see that particular container because I deleted it out too. Here, yes, because you are connected to the same storage account out there. So even here it will disappear. Though you do not delete it from here, it will still get disappeared. Reason being, you don't have the container there. It will also, yeah, it's a storage account level. So even at the storage account level, if you look at this one, I don't have the container. It's deleted from everywhere. So I'll delete the container from everywhere. And if you want to restore the container again, show deleted containers. You can say this is a test container which got deleted. Undeleted. In application, retrieval is not possible. You have to come to the portal and retrieve it out. From the storage explorer, you cannot retrieve it directly. You'll have to come to the portal and retrieve it out. And once I retrieve it here, and if I refresh it back again, if I look at, let's say, these things out here, 1 and 2, I'm getting it back again out here. So using the application, you can do everything apart from undeleting something. You can delete it, you can, let's say, add, you can upload, you can, delete your blobs and all these things, but you cannot undelete directly using, let's say, a storage explorer software. Now, access keys are very dangerous. It's something that you don't share with everyone, anyone. You only share it with a couple of people. Let's say a project manager is coming to you and telling that, you know what, I need an access key, can you please give me that, I need to access it. Yes, allowed. Someone whom you trust is someone you share this access key with. But just in case, let's say that you shared this access key with someone you don't know, that developer is now going ahead and trying to delete something, I now should restrict that developer. Now that developer also went ahead, gave it to some other developer. That developer, that particular key passed in your entire organization. Now you need to invalidate a key. When I say invalidate a key, this particular developer should lose the access. This is what needs to happen. For that, come down to the portal, go to the access key. There is something called rotate key out here. You see this? When I say rotate key, it will just regenerate a key and it will invalidate the old one. So the old key will not no longer be be valid out here. And if I say yes, it will take a second and it will regenerate the key one out here. So now the key one has changed. So if I am now a user who is using the old key still, so now I'm using the old key out here. You see what happened here? It's saying server failed to authenticate, make sure the header is right, and etc. Even if I'm using the SAS token, even this will become invalidated. Reason being, SAS is derived from an access key itself. So if you invalidate the access key, all the SAS tokens will also get invalidated out there. This is how you can rotate a key. And if you rotate a key, the second you rotate it, everyone who's connected with an older key will lose their access out there. Yes, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions still here that I can take? There's no time limit for key. You cannot set a time limit for key. Reason being, key is different from a shared access signature. A shared access signature allows you to share the keys in a controlled way. You can tell what is the start, you can tell what is end and all these things. Access keys do not let you, let's say, control that. Access keys, let's say, gives you an unlimited access over a particular storage account. How SAS you cannot get it back. You'll have to regenerate a new one. You'll have to regenerate a new one. Once the SAS is lost, you cannot get it back. You'll have to regenerate a new one out there. So you can generate any number of keys out there, not a problem. But please remember, as and when you rotate the key, SAS, access keys, everything will be lost. You'll have to again reshare it back to your developers. SAS key? Yes, we can. We did that, right? Okay, you're saying at a group you want to generate, let's say, 10 containers, you want to generate one SAS key. No, that is not possible. That is not possible. You'll have to generate it for individual containers if you want to do that. Right. No, you cannot see who can make the change. When that's the disadvantage of a key is that when you share it with someone, you cannot see what changes they make. Yes, any more questions? From here, no. You cannot delete the access key. You cannot rename. Detach is there. When you say detach, what will happen is that if you come here, if I click on this and say detach, it'll just remove that storage account from this particular list. The storage account will be removed from this particular list out here. That's what detach will do. But key cannot be regenerated from here. You'll have to go to the portal and regenerate the key out there. Yes, any more questions here? Okay, I'm sorry, I muted a lot of people, so let's unmute so that yes, go ahead, guys. Any questions?
Yeah, hi Kiran. Yeah, actually this is out of topic. Actually, in our real-time projects, is it our role will be like 24 by 7 or like any shifts or like if you ask this,
Sorry, can you come again, please? In a real-time project,
is our role will be like a 24 by 7 or like a normal shifts? Why? Because if I am
again,
seeing this entire,
mhm,
yeah, if I am seeing
not
this
really.
entire, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Not really. Usually, you do not, let's say, have a 24 by 7, let's say, support kind of a thing out there. Since it's a pure IT role, you will have a particular shift out there, and you will have another team which will come into a different shift and so on and so forth. So it's not a 24 by 7. Again, if you, let's say, really ask me about the role and responsibility that you play in, you will primarily be as a DevOps engineer. This is all the administration part of things. You'll primarily be a DevOps engineer, but you need to know the administration part of it. So once we start the DevOps class, again we'll revisit all these concepts and we'll understand how do you manage all these things using DevOps and all those things out there.
Okay. Yeah, just I got that out. Why? Because this SaaS keys and all, it's very secure. If something happened, we need to change it
Correct,
on time.
correct, correct.
Yeah, that's why I got that out. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, hi Kiran.
We can switch the permission at any time. If you switch the permission at any time, you will need to generate a new key and send it across, or you need to generate a new SAS and send it across. Yes, any more questions?
Yeah, hi.
Yes.
Do we have access to multiple storage accounts or single storage account with access key?
Single storage account. It's each and every storage account will have its own unique access key. Each and every storage account will have its own unique access key as such.
Okay, we can't give access key for all storage account at single time.
No, you can't do that. You'll have to generate the access keys for each and every storage account as such.
Okay.
Yes, one question offline.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Kiran. Okay.
Mhm. If you no, it's valid. You don't have to refresh it. It's valid. Yes. Yes. Any more questions, guys? Any more questions that I can take?
Hi, Kiran. If you are sharing the URL to some user, okay.
Okay.
So we have granted all the access to him. Like if he has
Okay.
uploaded some files over there, hmm?
Okay.
Can we
Okay.
rotate the key?
You can rotate the key, but all the files he's uploaded will still remain. So let's say you've given something called as an access key to a user. What that user did is that user went ahead and added another blob called 10. And after
Yes.
he added, you rotated a key. That user will not
Yes.
be able to upload another blob called 11. He won't be able to, let's say, upload 11, 12, and etc. But 10 will still be there. That blob 10 will still be there. That won't, let's say, be undone until and unless you come and delete it out.
I mean, the URL will change, isn't it? If you
The
rotate
URL
the
will
key.
change. Yes. Yes, the URL will change.
So we
Yes.
need to share the, I mean, URL once more to him, isn't it? So
So
the
you
old URL will not be valid anymore.
correct. The old key will not be valid.
Okay.
Hi
Yes.
Kiran.
Anything else,
Even though
please?
he added from Storage Explorer, we can see that in logs, right? In events or logs.
Uh, in events you won't be able to see it. In activity log you won't be able to track those changes. Activity log will only track the changes which are occurring via the Azure portal or via through, let's say, some kind of automation and all these things out. But when I went ahead and added it from a storage account, it'll just tell that, what someone is doing some kind of an operation, but it won't tell you what operations they do. It won't really tell you what it is. So for example, if you see this, it just says that I have, let's say, generated something. I put a blob container. This is something like 21 minutes ago because I created something on the portal. So everything that you do on the portal is listed out here. Everything that you do from a storage explorer is not tracked out here.
Okay. Okay. By accidentally I added some file, but I don't know the name of that file. How to search? Because I'm asking this because if we get that name in event logs, then I can easily track that file and then I can delete, right?
Correct.
That is the reason
Agreed
I
with
want.
that, but you cannot do that using a storage explorer. If you add it, let's say, from a storage explorer, you cannot do that. You will have to manually make a search of it. You'll have to manually go to the container and search for that particular file that you added.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
All right, guys, with that, I need to end this session right now. I'm a little top of the hour. So please go ahead, download this particular storage explorer, generate the access key, look at a shared access signature, see how are they different, see, rotate it out, see how much of time it takes, let's say, for your friend to lose the access and all those things out there. And we'll meet on Monday. Tomorrow and day after, we do not have a class. We'll meet on Monday. Please download this out. And from Monday, we'll look into much more advanced topics of storage accounts and etc. and so on and so forth. Okay, thank you guys and have a good day ahead.